Hi everyone, my name's Rebecca B and I am new to the Hipkit Club design team this term. I am so excited to share my first project with you. So my assignment for this week is to take part in the weekly challenge, which is a colour challenge to use pink and green and one accent colour on a layout. So I've used pink and green and I've added in some yellow as well. So I was really inspired by the embroidery elements in some of the kits. So the Happy Hearts wood accents that come in the embellishment kit have little embroidery hoop wooden embellishments, and I felt that this cardstock, it reminded me of embroidery fabric, you know, Ida, the embroidery cross stitch fabric, and so it got me thinking about cross stitching and embroidery, and that's where my idea for this layout came from. So I wanted to make almost like an altered embroidery hoop, but on a scrapbook layout. So this cardstock comes from the cardstock kit from February. This colour is Limeside, which is a very soft baby green. And as you can see, I'm just sort of moulding that paper around the inside of my embroidery hoop and just getting it to sort of bend and form around that hoop shape. And I'm just bending and tucking and moulding it as I go round until the paper softens enough that it really just fits and wraps around snugly like fabric would on a embroidery hoop. Then I've cut away the excess using my craft knife once that's nice and tucked in. That piece of paper there is the Be My Valentine paper from the main kit. It's got a lovely diamond pattern on one side, and I'm using the B side, which is this pink ledger paper. So just using a tearing ruler just to get a relatively straight torn edge on there. I like torn edge, but I like it to be straight. So I've got a photo of my baby. He was just a couple of days old when I took that photo of him. So I've used pinks and greens and yellows on this. It's obviously a baby layout. I often use pinks on little boy pages. I enjoy using pink, but I've kind of focused more on the green and the yellow for this colour challenge. So I'm adding some clear gesso onto some white cardstock. This is just Pebeo clear gesso, and I will leave that to the side before I add some mixed media onto that. This floral ephemera is the Pink Fresh floral ephemera that comes from the embellishment kit, and as you can see, I've picked out some of the pinks, greens and yellows from that pack, and also the Pink Fresh ephemera pack that come in the main kit, and I'm just picking out things that might work or things that are the right colour. So next I'm using this Simple Stories stencil. This comes from the colour kit. Now, my word, how gorgeous is that stencil. I absolutely love it. I didn't want to use it in the heart form that it's in. I felt like it might be too girly, being that I'm, you know, making a baby page about a boy using pink. I didn't want to go too extra girly, but I wanted to get some of that gorgeous, gorgeous texture. So I have used it, but not in the heart shape. I've kind of moved the stencil around as I've gone through and added some texture paste through it, just to create a little frame around where my embroidery hoop will sit on my finished page. And I've used Pentart modelling paste as my texture paste. It's super thick and dries really quickly, so that's a really good one to use. So I'm going to now add a little bit of mixed media to my background paper. Obviously I've pre-gessoed that background paper, and I'm going to be using the It's Mint to Be Shimmers paint pot from the colour kit. So this is the first time I've used this Shimmers type of Shimmers paint. I've used a lot of the Inklings and a lot of the Spritz sprays, but my first time using this format, so it's lovely to try something new with this colour kit, and I absolutely adore this colour, this lovely aqua turquoise colour. Beautiful, absolutely love it. And obviously it dries like all shimmers in that lovely pearlescent shimmery finish at the end when it's dry, so it's really beautiful. So my plan, I wanted to just have some of that paint peeking out around the edge of my embroidery hoop when it goes on my page. So I don't want to add too much on there. I still want to keep some of my white space on my background cardstock, but still want a bit of that colour just peeking around. It just helps to ground the embroidery hoop onto that background. So I just keep offering up the embroidery hoop to see where I need to add more colour. And once it's dry, I'm then going to attach my piece of pink ledger paper now that my texture paste has fully dried as well. Finally, I'm going to adhere my embroidery hoop down. Now, I'm obviously adding some glue around the edge, but I wanted to give that paper some support in the centre, so I've doubled up some 3D foam just to give that middle of that paper just a little bit of support when it's in my album. I don't want it to start crumpling. So yeah, some doubled up 3D foam just to support that. Tiny little bit of tissue paper around my photo just to help soften the edges of that. You know, I feel like baby layouts should be quite soft and gentle, and you know, soft colours and no harsh edges. So tissue paper is perfect for just softening those edges up a little bit. So now it's time to embellish, and obviously I want this to look like an altered embroidery hoop. So I'm adding the main focus of my embellishment down to the bottom and slightly to the right of my embroidery hoop. And I've gone through earlier and picked out lots of the greens and yellow florals from the pink fresh floral ephemera from the embellishment kit, and I'm going to go through and just build up a beautiful floral cluster down at the bottom. So some pieces will be glued down, some pieces I've added some foam underneath, and lots of things all sort of tucked in there. I've added some thread bundles. I want loads of dimension and texture, as if this was a real altered embroidery hoop. So yeah, as I previously mentioned, that photograph, my little boy is only a few days old. I think he might be 4 days old. When I took that photograph, I'd kind of done a little impromptu at-home baby photo shoot. You kind of have to take these photos when they're only a couple of days old, or they lose their little squishy newborn face. So yeah, it's a lovely photo that I've not scrapped before. So really wanted a really soft, gentle, you know, newborn baby vibe, and I think pink, green and yellow are just the perfect colours for baby layouts. So as you can see, I've added a little bit of twine up to the top on that metal screw at the top of my embroidery hoop. So around about now, I felt like just above my hoop is looking a little bit bare, so I'm going to start tucking some of the floral ephemera pieces in just behind the embroidery hoop at the top and just behind the pink ledger paper where it overlaps onto the cardstock. I'm also going to glue a butterfly on to the hoop just up at the top to just get a bit of dimension there and to break up that roundness of that hoop shape. I've also tucked in one of the embellishment hoops that come in the Happy Hearts wooden accents into that main cluster down at the bottom there. I felt like I had to use one of those. That was the kind of inspiration for the whole layout, so I had to get one of those on there. I've used the green one with the little daisy flowers on there, and it just adds that perfect little pop of darker green in that cluster. So I wanted a little bit more of the it's meant to be visible, so I'm just adding a little bit more on there and diluting the edges out so that there's no harsh lines on the sort of edge of that mixed media. Now I'm adding a little bit of white acrylic paint, just sort of watered down white acrylic paint onto the pink ledger paper. Initially I'd planned for Hello Wonderful to be my title in that main cluster at the bottom, but I felt like I wanted an additional few sort of words and some more green in that little cluster just above the hoop. So I've used some of these stickers. These are the Pink Fresh Happy Hearts cardstock stickers. They come in the Pocket Life kit, so I've added the title Brand New onto the hoop there. I think that helps break up the roundness of the hoop shape. And I'm adding another little cluster over onto the left just to balance out the page a little bit, and I've used a little bit of the green mixed media and some of the pink floral ephemera, as well as a couple of the hearts that come with the Simple Stories chipboard stickers that are in the main kit. And finally, I'm adding some of the Prima Marketing Say It in Crystals gem stickers that come in the Pocket Life kit. These are some close-ups. This is the finished layout. I really love how this came out, and I'm really so excited to be joining the Hipkit team. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you've enjoyed this process video, please do make sure to like the video and to subscribe to the Hipkit channel, and please click the notification bell to be notified every time we add a new video. This was Rebecca B for Hipkit Club.